So let me just quickly get it out of the way. I do not have a 9 to 5 W-2 type job yet. That's not what the news is. I didn't want to, like, have a whole bunch of suspense around it because y'all have been on this journey with me this whole time. And so, I didn't want y'all to think that I got a job when I didn't. So I just want to put that out there. I do not yet have a full-time job, so that's not what the news is. But I do still have some really good news to share. I'm getting a roommate. Yes, I'm getting a roommate. I have seen lots of comments saying that I should have been got a roommate or like sold my house or whatever, that I can't afford my house. I've seen a lot of those comments. And for me, so some background about me. I have been living on my own by myself for the better part of a decade at this point, and I like living alone. um, I know that there's some people who have never gotten to live alone before, um, and they can't really imagine it, and they're like, "Aren't you lonely? Aren't you bored or whatever?" As long as you like your own company, you're not gonna get bored. I've never felt bored. Sometimes I felt lonely, but never bored. I like living alone. It's like the ultimate freedom, and it's like my own little personal sanctuary away from this like chaotic world in the walls of my house. It's just me here, and it's my little safe bubble. And for the longest time, I said that unless or until the day comes when somebody's son wants to change my last name, then we can talk about living together. But other than that, I just haven't been interested in it. And yet, I'm getting a roommate. So, how did that happen? Well, as y'all know, I have not been working a full time job this whole year. And how do I start? So, when I first got laid off, I was like letting my friends know. And one of my friends, I was texting her about it. And she told me, like, through text message, let me know if you need a roommate, LOL. And I was like, haha, okay, yeah. And that was back in January when I got laid off. And even though I feared that this may have happened, I was hoping that it wouldn't get to this point, like November, and I still didn't have a job yet. So uh, she was hopeful and I was hopeful that it wouldn't take me that long to get a new job. So when she said that, it was like in a joking type of way. And throughout the course of the year, as the months have gone by, and even though I have still been able to pay my mortgage every single month, so that's a huge blessing, there's still a lot of financial pressure that comes with having to pay $2,800 every month just for your mortgage by yourself, and when you don't have stable income anymore. So back in like July, I had come up with the decision that if I did not have a full-time job by January of 2026 that was comparable in salary to my previous position, that I would start the process of selling my house. I came up with that decision because just mathematically speaking, it doesn't make sense to keep this house when I'm not making the same type of money that I used to make. Sorry, I keep hitting my watch on my desk. But yeah, it doesn't make sense to keep this house if I'm not making the same type of money. And even though I worked really hard to get this house, and like as soon as I walked in, I felt like an emotional attachment to this house. Like I just walked in and like fell in love. Um, it doesn't make sense to keep it. So back in July, I came up with a decision that like if by January I don't have another job, then I'm gonna start the process of selling the house. And while I made that decision, I something like in the back of my mind remembered when my friend was like, "Hey, let me know if you need a roommate, LOL." But I'm thinking back like, LOL, she was joking, right? Like that's a joke. And so the more I thought about it, the more I was like, what if she wasn't joking? But I thought, like, for sure she was joking because she has also lived alone for the better part of the last decade. And she loves living alone. She is introverted like myself. She values like her downtime. My fellow introverts, I'm sure you get what I mean. But yeah, like I know she enjoys living alone because she's said it before, and I was like, surely she's joking. She also doesn't live in the same city or state as me, so that's a big thing for her to like move in. But in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, like, what if she wasn't joking? And I felt like that would be weird to bring up over text message or even like on a phone call. I felt like that's more of a face-to-face type conversation. And I knew that I was going to be seeing her. So if you remember my video where I went to Maryland for the weekend for that wedding, like she was there at the wedding. So I knew I was going to see her. And so I was like, when I see her, then I'll bring it up. So I saw her that Friday, because the wedding was over a weekend. I saw her that Friday, and it took me until Sunday, like afternoon, to come up with the courage to like bring up the topic of like, hey, were you joking? And it took me that long because even though we have been friends since like 2011, I struggle with asking for help. I do. It I guess I've been on my own for so long, and I've been like independent for so long that it's hard for me to ask for help. And even if we're like really close friends, it's still hard for me to do that. So it took me like 2 days to to finally like bring it up to her. And we were having brunch somewhere, and uh it took me a while to like bring it up, but I finally was like, hey, do you remember when everything like first happened with me and you were like, let me know if you need a roommate, LOL. Was that a joke? Like, were you joking? And she was like, it was kind of a joke, but kind of not. And like, why do you ask? And I was like, well, I've been going through, this year, like the struggle of trying to get a new job. And I was kind of like dragging it out. And she was like, do you need a roommate? And I was like, it would be helpful to have a roommate because it's still hard for me to just say like, yes, I need a roommate.
We worried about you, man. Do you need some money? I got you.
And she was like, yeah, I'll live with you. And I was like, what do you mean, yes? Because I felt like she said yes too quickly. I felt like she said yes too quickly, and something within me was just like, wait, can I trust this? Wait, it's too good to be true. She said yes too fast. So I was like, wait, what do you mean yes? And not to like get into her business or anything, but she hasn't been enjoying where she lives now. And she's religious, like I'm religious, and she's been like talking to God about like, hey God, what do you want me to do next? Like, where do you want me to go? Because I don't think you want me to be here anymore. And she had been like talking to God about that, and she had been waiting for an answer from God. And so when I brought that up to her, she took it as a sign from God. So that's why she was so quick to say yes, and she didn't really need to think about it. She was just like, yeah, sure, okay. And so I'm just like, thank goodness for having friends that are like obedient to God's like will over their life, like who move when God literally says to move. So I was still just like, but wait, you're saying yes really fast. Cause I was like, but you like living alone. Why would you do this? And she was like, yeah, I do like living alone, but you need help. And I don't like where I'm living at now. So, you know, seems like a good option. And yeah, so she was like on board immediately. She just had to talk to her job because, like I said, she lives in a different city, in a different state, but her company has offices in different locations, and one of those locations is where I live. And so she talked to her job about it, and that's why I haven't said anything, even though I've been, having this like, um, I've been thinking that like this could happen for a while, but I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to get y'all's hopes up and I didn't want to get my hopes up. I wanted to wait until it was like HR approved, and HR has approved her reassignment. So I'm getting a roommate. She won't actually be here, or she won't move in until January of next year. So another 2 months or so. That's when her company has like allowed her to be reassigned. So I still got just a couple more months of paying my mortgage in full by myself. But yeah, in January, I'll have help and I will have a huge like financial relief to not have to pay all of that by myself. Now, when I had considered selling the house, I was already like looking at apartments just to see like what was like doable or feasible in my area. And I was like, if I am going to give up this house that I worked so hard to get and saved for, if I'm going to give it up, then I want to have like a major financial difference between my mortgage and rent. And so I said that I wouldn't get an apartment that was more than $1,800. So $1,800 was my max. So because I'd already decided that, I am then going to make it so that when we are splitting my mortgage, I'm going to pay $1,800 and she's going to pay $1,000, because that's what I was already going to do anyway if I sold my house. Now, no, that is not a 50-50 split, but I feel like that's fair for a couple of reasons. One, the way my house is set up, like my room has an ensuite bathroom, but her room will not. She'll still have her own bathroom, but she'll have to like leave her room to go into the bathroom. So I think that's fair. Like the person who has the better room pays more. Also, like I said, she's been my friend since like 2011. Like I'm not trying to get over on her. She's one of my best friends. Like I'm not trying to get over on her. I'm just trying to like relieve my financial stress. So, saving $1,000 is a huge advantage to me. And she's also going to be paying a lot less than what she was paying, because she doesn't live like currently where she's at is not like a low cost of living city. Like her rent is kind of high. So she's going to be saving a lot of money per month as well. So it will financially help both of us. And I already like talked to her about that number and she was like, yeah, that sounds good. It sounds fair. So yeah, there's still a lot to do. I have to clear out my, sorry, I forgot to mention another reason why her rent would be $1,000 is because she already has her own house, like, or apartment where she lives. And she's been living alone for years as well. So she already has accumulated all this stuff. Like she has her own furniture. She has her own kitchen appliances. Like she has her own everything. And I have my own everything. And I'm going to do a lot of decluttering throughout the house. But my house is still on the smaller side and it has limited storage availability. So she can't fit all of her stuff in here, even when I declutter. So she is going to have to go through her stuff and decide what she wants to keep. And anything that she doesn't want, she'll give away or sell or whatever she ends up doing. But the things that she does want to keep and they can't fit in here, she'll have to pay for a storage unit. So that's why, like, even though $1,000 is not market rent around here, um, and I didn't, and even though it's still not like a 50-50 split on my mortgage payment, I'm not trying to get over on her. I'm trying to make my situation easier and it also be something that uh, works out financially for her as well. So that's where I came up with a number for 1,000. And like even saving $1,000 a month is a huge savings, like a huge savings. So I'm very like happy with that, and she is happy as well. And as far as like, if you're thinking like, oh well, what if she loses her job? She works in a very different industry than I do, and she has a lot more. Her job is a lot more stable than mine was. Like her industry is a lot more stable than the one that I was in. And also, she is very good with her finances and she has savings. And I'm not worried about her being able to pay the rent once she gets here. So there's that. And also, there's a lot of things that we still have to think through. Like, both of us are. Like, I'm gonna have a lease for her, which some people may think like, well, why are you like gonna come up with a lease for your friend? Um, we are friends and I want us to stay friends. And so I want us to come up with like expectations, guidelines, boundaries. Um, she has said that I'm someone who needs to work on vocalizing when I feel like things aren't going the way that they should. So she doesn't want to like come in and like take over my house. And I also don't want her to come in and take over my house. And at the same time, I don't want her to just feel like a tenant. Like I want her to still enjoy living here. So we just need to kind of figure out what that balance is and like what we both want and need out of the arrangement. So that's why I'm going to come up with a lease that we can go over so that we both understand what the expectations are. I feel like I was going to say something else. Oh, and another thing, we also haven't discussed for how long she's going to be here for. She has asked me like, how long do you need me to live with you? Because I guess that like when she doesn't leave here, as long as she still has her job at that company, then she'll just get an apartment in the area. So she was asking me like, how long do I need her to live here? And I was like, well, I mean, I'm going to be saving money when you get here, and I have credit card debt that I need to pay off. So I don't really know. I don't really know how long I would need her to stay here because honestly, like as long as she stays here, I'm going to save a lot of money. If interest rates ever go down, then as long as I can afford to refinance, I would love to refinance to get that mortgage down. But yeah, like my mortgage is high, so it's always going to be financially beneficial to me to have a roommate. So I'm not really sure how long I would want her to be a roommate for. I guess as long as it's not hurting our friendship, because again, like we're both used to living alone and I really value our friendship that we have, so I don't want anything to like jeopardize that. So something I want to talk to her about is I want to have like check-ins where we can openly and candidly talk about how we think things are going and if we need to change anything, if there needs to be like any type of modifications or like resetting boundaries, things like that, because I don't want her to feel uncomfortable. I don't want to feel uncomfortable. So yeah, I want everyone to be happy. I want us both to be happy with the arrangement. And so yeah, I want us to have check-ins, and I also want us to give each other heads up if it's not working for one of us. And if we want to change the living arrangement. I think that on either side, we should give the person like at least like 60 days. Um, and so like if she moves in January and then I get a job in February, I'm not going to say to my friend like, well, you got to go because I like living alone. I don't need you anymore. You got to get out. Like, I'm not going to do that. Um, Actually, I probably still want her to live here because if I get a job and I have like the money that I make from content creation, then I can pretty quickly knock out my credit card debt, hopefully, and like add more to my savings and, like other financial goals that I have. So I'm not gonna like kick her out once I get a job. But if she's ever like, okay, I helped out my friend for like 6 months, but I'm ready to like move on, I'm not going to take that personally. I wouldn't be mad at her if she did. I just would want to know that in advance. Like, yeah, if you're feeling like we're reaching the end of this arrangement, then give me like a couple months heads up so that I can make sure I got things in place financially. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that we still need to like determine and set in stone, but I'm just so happy that I'm gonna get a break in like 2 months. I just gotta hold on for 2 months, and I won't have to pay $2,800 a month by myself, and my living costs are gonna be like $1,800, which my living costs have not been, or cost of living have not been $1,800 or less since like 2022. The last apartment that I was in when I moved in, the rent was like $1,800. But then I renewed it for the second year, and then it was over 2,000. So the last time I signed a lease where it was $1,800 was 2022. And that was minimum. That was like base rent. So that wasn't the like other fees on top of it. So it was actually over 1,800. So yeah, I haven't paid less than $1,800 for rent since 2022. Yeah. So it's gonna feel good. It's gonna feel really good. It's gonna be a huge relief. So like I said, I didn't want to tell y'all this until I knew for a fact that it is happening. It is happening. My friend gave me the HR approval. So HR has approved her move, and we've been texting like last week she asked me like, how many kitchen appliances do you have and what type? So like we're trying to consolidate things because she loves cooking, so she's going to be in the kitchen a lot. So I think that's the biggest adjustment is sharing a kitchen with someone again, and sharing like a refrigerator with someone again. Yeah, so I'm excited. It is going to be an adjustment. I already know it's going to be an adjustment, but I'm excited. I haven't lived with her in a while. I don't know if I said it earlier in the video, but the last time we lived together was in college. So for 2 out of the 4 years of college, we lived together. But that was a while ago. So I know that it'll be an adjustment and I'll have to do things differently. I tend to stay up late. I'm trying to change that, but it hasn't fully happened yet. So I tend to stay up late, and I tend to watch TV really loudly, and I listen to music really loudly. I also sing really loudly too, so that's gonna have to change. Yeah, the way I dress like around the house. I know like some girls like they'll just be like open and everything around other girls, but me and her, we're not like that. we're not like that. So yeah, just having to like, oh, someone else is here, let me put on some clothes type thing. But sacrifices must be made, so yeah, it'll be an adjustment, but it'll be good. I'm excited for it. I also want us to have like friend dates. I don't know if I've told her this yet, but I would like us to have friend dates, like at least hopefully once a week, where we do something like either we like go see a movie, or like stay in and have a movie, or like maybe we like cook a shared dinner together or something. But yeah, I'm excited and I'm looking forward to it. So help is on the way. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Leave some comments down below, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already subscribed so you can see more videos like this. And I'll see you next time.